You know what the truth is? I was a little boy. My dad was around. I wanted a dad so bad. I wanted a loving father so bad. I used to see a good-looking black man in a suit and a tie, and I'd tell my friends, "That's my daddy." And I'd run up along the side of the guy, and I'd talk to him as we walked down the block. He didn't know me from Adam. And then I'd run back and say, "See, I told you he was my daddy." You see, I was so fearful that someone would break in the house and beat up Mother. And my daddy was a big guy, and he was known to be able to whip 6 police officers at a time. That's what was on the street about my dad. Big, husky, strong guy. You see, kids from single parents households want their dad. There's hardly a single woman who's raising children who would not want a loving husband to stand by her side and help her raise her children. Mm-hmm. There's not a gay child in the world that would not want a loving father and a loving mother. So what's wrong with marriage? They'll teach the kids and spend billions of dollars on sex education, teaching a kid how to roll a condom on a banana. And when they graduate from high school, they can't even spell banana. But they won't teach them about relationships. They won't teach them the value of relationships. Every time I take my sons to a Mariner game or a Sonic game when they were here, or the Seahawk game, I look over the crowd and tears come to my eyes because I say, I wish I had a dad to take me to games. Every time I show up at my son's games when they're playing ball or at their practice, and they can look over there and see their dad sitting in the stands, tears come to my eyes. Is that, every kid in America needs a father in the stands right there with them. Every time my sons come home with homework, and they sit there at the table with their dad, and I'm doing homework and projects with them. It's not that I don't appreciate my children. I know how it feels not to have a dad to do the things that I do with my boys. And every Father's Day, my boys pick out the most beautiful cards saying, "You are the greatest dad that ever lived." And then they come up and I say, "How am I doing as a dad?" They said, "We can't have a better dad." So how come I couldn't have one? See, they don't promote that today. If you read every study, David Blankenhorn's book, Fatherless America, and this book, The Importance of Fathers, this is by 2 psychologists, and both of them are women. And they've done every study you could think of, the devastation of a child not having a dad. Republicans won't promote that. Remember when you were little kids, how all of society promoted family? In fact, every TV show was a family show. Ozzie and Harriet, the Danny Thomas show, the Jackie Gleason show, even Amos and Andy, they have their wife. Everything was family. Christmas time, everything was family. The little girls, they got buggies, baby buggies, and they got little babies, dolls, and everything. You can't hardly find that in Toys R Us today. They have action figures, and they have the dolls are teenage dolls that are very sexy with the tight jeans and breasts. They don't have the little babies anymore. There used to be a time you can go in any kindergarten class in America, and they had a playhouse where you play mommy and daddy. They don't exist anymore. We don't promote traditional marriages, and Republicans are afraid to talk about the one thing that could save America: a healthy family with a loving father and a loving mother. And don't care whether the kids are gay or straight, they all want a loving father and a loving mother. Every gay member out there wants a loving father and a loving mother. Republicans They're so out of touch. Democrats are too. Neither one of them visit the communities. When was the last time you seen a politician come to your community when he wasn't fundraising? They don't come and check on you to see what you think or how you feel. They don't go in the white communities, or unless it's a rich white community, and they don't go in the black community, and they don't go in the Asian community, they don't go in the Latino community, they don't go in the poor communities to see how people feel. They only go with their rich counterparts, Democrats and Republicans alike. But Republicans claim that they are for traditional values, that they're for marriage, and they're more comfortable talking about same-sex marriage than they are traditional marriages. The answer, a multi-trillion-dollar answer to our problems. I live on Mercer Island. I coached for over 30 years. And there were people there on Mercer Island, rich white guys, that never came to their kids' games. They were so busy making their money, their millions, that they did not have. And when we have a year party for the whole team and everything else, the mother would show up, but not the dad. The dad would only show up at the time and say, "It's time to go home." And the little boy would take his trophy and his snacks and follow his dad out. They didn't have time for their children. Now, when those kids see me today with their kids, they tell their kids, this is the coach that coached me when I was a little boy. We don't need the government to take care of us. No. The government is no substitute for a loving father or a loving mother. No substitute. Don't you buy that. Every time Nancy Pelosi or Harry Reid get up and they talk about entitlement programs, say, "You can't bring that crap to me. There's no substitute for a loving father." When I take my boys to the parade, they would feel their dad's big hands around their hands. They felt safe. My boys knew that if anyone broke into my house, even though I'm a minister, they got to kick me out first. No one, and the schools know, no one touches my boys. I'm their daddy. And I will protect them like a mother bear protects her cub. Nobody messes with my child. When gang members trusted me, when I've gone to the street and worked with gang members, and incidentally, some of the gang members I work for have gone on to college, no government program, and I paid their tuition to get in college, and some have already got their master's degree. No government program.